Taiping Rebellion. My name is Natalie Niles, and this is continuing on with our Imperial Resistance Movement series. This episode is called the Taiping Rebellion. The Taiping Rebellion led to 20 million people losing their lives and 600 cities being destroyed. In this episode, you will learn all about the Taiping Rebellion as we take a deeper dive into what it was all about. For example, we will talk about China before colonization, as well as who led the Taiping Rebellion and what happened before and after. Before colonization, the imperial system was flourishing under the Qing dynasty. Their trade was also going really well because everyone wanted their products. During this time, they were also trying to make a better military and stronger government. In this picture, you can see all the different countries trying to cut up China, like England and France. The main leader of the whole rebellion was Hong Quan. And before we start talking about him, here's some information on his backstory.
One such convert was Hong Xiaochuan. Xiaochuan was born in a poor family from Dehua County in Guangdong Province in southern China on the 1st of January 1840. As he seemed to show promising scholar skills, his parents decided to finance primary education for him, and after brilliantly succeeded the preliminary civil servant examinations, ranking first, Xiaochuan then moved to Guangzhou, or Canton, the largest city in the region, and a strong western sphere of influence, to take the imperial examinations. These were a necessary test for any person aspiring to become a high-ranked civil servant or climb the social ladder. However, the young student was unsuccessful and had to return broke to agricultural life in his home village. In 1836, at the age of 22, he returned to Guangzhou to take the examinations again. It was there that he met Edwin Stevens, an American Christian illegally acting as a missionary. This was Xiaochuan's first interaction with Christianity, and although he did not pay much attention to the foreign religion, he still took the preacher's translated pamphlets.
After Hong went back for the test the third time, he then failed again. He then started to hallucinate and feel sick when he returned home. He hallucinated him traveling to a heavenly state where he says demons were destroying mankind. Him and his brother go on to kill the demons and the king of hell. After the battle, Hong stayed in heaven and took a wife. He then returned to earth where he said he had the title Heavenly King, Lord of the Kingly Way. His family said he was in bed for days, and when he woke up, he told his family, but everyone just thought he was crazy. He copied down poems that he had written there and moved on. Later, missionaries were spreading the word of Jesus Christ, and Hong thought that this is what must have gone on in his dream. So, the God-worshipping society was the society that Hong then joined. So, how did he start getting into this? After he found God, he started to look more into him. He started to think that he must have been Jesus' brother, and that's why he had these dreams. He then started to gain lots of followers, and in 1847, Hong went to Thistle Mountain to join a local God worshippers and conspire against religious traditions in the area. Numbering in the thousands, the God-worshipping society grabbed the attention of local authorities who wanted to end the group's teaching and arrest some of the leaders. Hong preached an early form of Confucianism that stressed sharing property, mixed with religious ideas and laws based on the Ten Commandments. His promise of free land would soon bring in thousands of more followers. So why the Chinese? The Chinese were fully Confucianists. They made laws, and their education and government was based off of these laws. The God-worshipping society obviously didn't like that. But just as the God-worshipping societies didn't like them, the Chinese laws and governments didn't like the God-worshipping society. So what caused the rebellion? In 1850, Hong said that Jesus told him to fight for heaven. Soon he started to arm his followers and buy a lot of gunpowder to make an army. He took that as China was the devil, since they weren't fully following God. Soon they were fully against the Qing dynasty in China because they wanted to change Chinese societies, especially since they wanted to get rid of Christianity. So what was their relationships? In the leading up to the event, it was very hostile. Like I said before, the government didn't like Christianity and they wanted to get rid of it. And then in the same way, the God worshipping societies didn't like their religion either. In the beginning, they were very hostile still. They didn't think they should practice what they did, and it ended up being one of the most deadly conflicts in the world. During the war, they just wanted to kill everyone. If you believed in something else, then they were going to fight you to the death. During the war, the God worshipping society was actually winning a lot. They left Mountain Thistle and took over the city of Yong. They later also took over Nanjing, which they had a hold of for 11 years. At this time, they had around 2 million followers. So this is a map of the Taiping Rebellion and how they moved from Thistle Mountain down to Yuhong and then eventually to Nanjing. This is important so we can actually see how much land they conquered and went through. You can see that they weren't very good to get past the Great Wall, which is this dotted line, or the Great Canal, which is this big blue line. So they never fully took over China itself. You can also see the route that they took, and also over here was in their capital. And when they started getting close, the European forces eventually stepped in to help. This is a picture from the historical archive. This picture is from the end of the war, when the Qing dynasty forces were chasing out the Taipeian out of Yuhong. In this, you can see many Taipeians. So this is them getting chased out. And then everybody else around here, like these people right here, this is all the Qing dynasty. And over here as well. Here in the middle, this is the town Yuhan. And then notice the tents surrounding and the trenches that they dug. This is very significant because this is basically China ending the war and chasing out the rest of the people. So this is actually one of my favorite documents that I found. This is an old banner that the Taipeian people actually hung up in the towns that they took. This was dated in June 6th, 1835. It was acquired by the National Library of Australia in 1961 as part of the London Missionary Society's collection of old and scarce works sent by missionaries to England from China. This is a big yellow banner that was put along the streets when the Taiping forces captured Nanjing in 1853. As soon as they took it over, they started to change the society to the way that they wanted. They did this through these banners so they could calm people down and tell them what they wanted to do. Now, obviously, this is in Chinese, so most of you won't be able to read it. So this is the front part. It just says who it's from, so it's saying it's from the generals, and the middle part is what I'm going to translate a little bit of. So in this beginning part, it says exactly, we enjoy all subjects to maintain their usual occupations. The people should submit themselves in devotion once heaven has given birth to the true Lord to reign over the people. And that's that small little section right here. And then this section says, since the barbarian minions threw China into turmoil, they have led the people to worship false gods and abandon the true God. They betrayed the Lord in high and intense and indicted the people to revolt. These demons are not all human. They anger August heaven and Trimes and murder our people. They let the stench of cash terminate heaven and leave our culture to languish in the dust. Farmers and craftsmen in their toiling suffered depressions year after year. Merchants in the trading are taxed at every pass. Everyone in the empire despairs. The entire central plain seethens with anger. And that's not the whole thing, but it's awesome to read. I think it's really cool. The outcomes were actually pretty drastic. 20 million to 70 million people lost their lives. In the end, European people actually aided China, and they took everything back that the rebellion had taken. They even massacred everyone else in the god-worshipping society. Hong, the leader, was found dead on May 1864, believed to have been poisoned, although it's unknown whether it was suicide or assassination. Thank you for watching this episode in the Imperial Resistance Movement series, Episode 8, The Taiping Rebellion. Come back on Wednesday to see the next episode where we will be discussing the Ming Dynasty.